Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson. This is Full Time Devils. This is the transfer review. We're outside Old Trafford and we're in the beautiful sunshine. This is the show where we cover everything that's happened in the last week of the transfer window, and we'll be in this new end of week spot until the very end of this transfer window this summer. Now, the first one that we've got for you is the only one that we've got for you that's really got any meat to it, and that is José Fonte from Southampton. Now, the Sun are coming out and saying that we might be swapping Rojo for him, which on one hand doesn't make a lot of sense, but on the other hand it does make a lot of sense, because if we did bring Fonte in, then we would have about 3,500 centre-halves at the club, and I think that's probably more than we can play in one match. So it makes sense that Rojo would go one way. His career's not really took off at Manchester United, but for me, if you look at Rojo, I look at Chris Smalling. Look at what Chris Smalling could do as a right back and look what he can do as a centre-half. It's an entirely different footballer, and I think that's what's happened with Rojo. We've seen him as a left back, and he ain't great as a left back, but as a centre-half, I think he's more than capable, and I would be upset to see him going on, honestly. Fonte does kind of fit the character that I want to see at the club, the one that I've been talking about for weeks, the one that I say is an old, experienced guy, but for me, Fonte's experience is not the highest level experience. This is not a guy that's going to take us to the Champions League. So if you give me the opportunity, do I want Fonte because he fits he's 32, he's got quite a lot of experience mould? No, because he doesn't have the requisite experience, he doesn't have the top level experience, he doesn't have Champions League experience, and that's what we need to be signing. The reason that we signed Zlatan, the reason that we signed Pogba is because those are players from the very top of the tree. To want to get to the top of the tree, you need players from the top of the tree. Fonte is not a player from the top of the tree. If we're talking about Rojo for Fonte, I think that's pretty unlikely. Swap deals don't happen outside of Football Manager, really, do they? So 4 out of 10 for that one. But ESPN are going quite hard on it, so I think just the singular transfer of Fonte coming to United, I rate that quite highly, to be honest, and I'm going to say about 7 out of 10 just for Fonte to come to Old Trafford. Marca have been quoted by the Express as saying that they think Fabinho's on his way to Old Trafford and Darmian's potentially going the other way. We'll cover Darmian a bit more in the outs, but Fabinho coming to Old Trafford and it being in the Express and in the Marca, I give this about as much credence as my mate in the pub has just said. So I'm not really buying that. Fabinho's one that people ask us about all the time, and I've not seen anything concrete on it. I've not seen anyone reputable talking about this transfer. So for me, I can't see this happening, and I don't understand, and I don't really think Fabinho's a massive upgrade on Darmian in any way, shape or form anyway, to be honest. So I'm not sure that this is a transfer I can see happening, so I'm going to give it a solid 3 out of 10. Miguel Delaney's again talking about Manchester United's need to sell someone to bring in another centre-half, which kind of ties in with the last one about us maybe looking to get rid of Rojo for Fonte. This one he's talking about us bringing in Bonucci or Varane though, and I'm not really sure that I see Bonucci or Varane coming. We're not going to get another player out of Juventus. Real Madrid are not going to do us any favours after taking Pogba and not allowing them to get David De Gea. I don't think we're in the market for that sort of player. I think there's other players in that bracket that we can get. So I'm going to say this one, 3 out of 10 again. The Sun are going big, saying that 48 hours Manchester United are going to sign Gabriel Barbosa. Now, where have we heard 48 hours before? Oh, I know, all pissing summer about Paul Pogba. So why put a time frame on this sort of thing? It never comes off in the time frame that people think. Now, there was a United player running around Manchester saying that United was going to sign Pogba a couple of months ago, and he was also saying that he was going to sign a Brazilian kid. This guy over here thought that that meant we was going to be signing Gabriel Jesus when we saw all the links with that. Clearly I got that one wrong. Now, a little bit of guesswork and a bit of deducing says that the Brazilian kid might be Gabriel Barbosa. So I'm going to say this one ties up with some of the things that we're hearing around Manchester. The Sun are saying it's going to happen in the next 48 hours. They don't usually go that hard unless they think there's something in this. So I reckon once the Olympics is over, we might see Gabriel Barbosa as a Manchester United player. So 8 out of 10 for me. All right, it's that time of the week again where we talk about the Paul Pogba saga update. Hang on a minute, I think you know what you're saying. You say, Stephen, he's already signed. What are you talking about, my friend? Well, that doesn't stop everyone writing about him, does it? Especially the Mail. The Mail decided it was newsworthy that Paul Pogba eats food. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew that professional athletes are able to eat food? What's the world coming to? All right, that was the ins and the Paul Pogba saga update. Here's the outs. Love McNair and Januzaj, and maybe a couple more on the way. I've been to Sunderland with David Moyes. Love and McNair have gone on permanent deals. Januzaj has gone on a loan. Jose Mourinho said some very positive things about him, said we're going to keep an eye on him and track his development. We wish them lads all the luck at Sunderland and hope it's a good place to go for Januzaj's development under David Moyes, who, of course, he flourished under. Calcio Mercato are linking Matteo Darmian with a move to Napoli. Now, this would make a lot of sense on many fronts. Darmian maybe needs to go back somewhere that he's going to be treated as a first-team player. Napoli have got boatloads of cash after selling Higuain. This is the sort of transfer that I can actually see happening, as much as it saddens me. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Sky Sports got an update for us on Juan Mata and Bastian Schweinsteiger. Now, differing fortunes for the two players. Juan Mata, after all the speculation with Jose Mourinho coming in and everyone expecting him to be one of the first out the door because he sold him at Chelsea, it seems that Juan Mata is going to be staying at least past this transfer window. Performed quite well in a few games that he's played for him so far, so maybe we're going to see him stick around. In the same article, Bastian Schweinsteiger is linked with a move away. Now, the thing that we thought might be the stumbling block on this one is Bastian's massive wages. But in the article, it says that they don't expect his big wages to be a stumbling block. As for where he's going to go, they don't really say. They just say home and abroad. For Bastian Schweinsteiger, there is a lot of interest, as you would expect. The guy still is a fantastic footballer if you only want 15 to 20 games a season out of him. So I do think there's a very real chance Bastian's going to be leaving the club. It seems like Jose Mourinho has totally closed the door on him already. So I'm going to say 8 out of 10 that Bastian goes. As to where that is, I have no idea. Here's a good example why you don't hang on every single headline that you read. Credit to Media Watch and Football 365 for coming up with this one. On the 31st of May, Sky sources said that Daley Blind and Juan Mata were likely to be leaving Jose Mourinho's Manchester United. On the 8th of August, they're saying Juan Mata is likely to be staying. The Manchester Evening News have got a little update here on Andreas Pereira's future. They're saying that Jose Mourinho doesn't have him in his plans for this season, but he doesn't want to lose him permanently, which leaves basically only a loan option available to him, doesn't it? I think a loan option would be fantastic for Pereira. Far too good for the Under-23 league. Not going to get enough game in the first team. There is really only the loan option, unless you want to sell him on somewhere else, and it clearly doesn't want to do that. So let's get him out on loan. Let's take him somewhere he's going to play 30, 35 games a season, and you're going to see a right footballer emerge. If I'm going to rate it, do I think he's going to go on loan? Yeah, I think he probably is. So I'm going to say 7 out of 10. It's that time of the week again, everybody. It's Bullshit Bingo! Thank you to everybody that got involved in Bullshit Bingo in our crap transfer headline section. We know which newspapers are reading this and we know which newspapers are writing those headlines, don't we? Yes, we do. Anyway, thank you for watching. We are back next week. There's probably more outs than ins happening at the moment, but there's still absolutely loads to talk about. We'll be back same time next week with the transfer review, so make sure you tune in. Hit that like button. If you smash that like button, you are guaranteed to get a brand new home shirt, so make sure you do it. It'll appear in your hand by magic, so do that right now. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you get anything in the comments, and we'll see you next week. Laters.
Manchester United and Southampton, this is our preview. I'm joined by Squawker Dave, Adam and Gaz. Let's start with the question that every single Manchester United fan is asking.